Let's talk about the nutrients that are needed by the body. What place to start with the big guys, the macronutrients. In this video, we're just going to be sort of describing them. We're not going to go into too much depth. That's for other videos in other tiers. But let's start with protein. You know, so many things in the body require the building blocks of protein, which are the amino acids. They are building blocks. They recover, repair, grow certain things. So especially as we just come off a video talking about what nutrition is looking after cellular turnover and rejuvenation, then protein is a big one to look after. The body can create some of its own amino acids, but the reason it's also called an essential nutrient is because some of the amino acids that it needs to make a complete protein need to come exogenously, need to come from an outside food source. And so it's not just muscles, it's everything going on that requires protein. So much stuff from enzymes to skin to, you know, many processes need them. Secondly, carbohydrates. So often this is the one that gets ditched when people want to go on a diet. And there's a good case for it if you overconsume it and you're a bit too sedentary. But carbohydrate is our primary energy source. There's a reason every cell in the body metabolizes glucose, which is what carbohydrate breaks down to. And I think we fear it for some wrong reasons. Often if people reduce it a little bit and then eat some carbohydrate, or they've had a takeaway, or they've been to a party and they've eaten more, and they get on the scale the next day and they suddenly see that they've put weight on, and you know they go into a tailspin. But carbohydrate, the clue's in the title, hydrate, it's actually 1 part glucose to 4 parts water. Often when you consume a bit of carbohydrate, especially if you've depleted your carbohydrate stores over the week, trying to be good and, you know, reduce it, then you eat a lot of it, you just dump a load of water into the system. So that scale weight you're seeing doesn't mean that overnight you've put on 1 kg of subcutaneous fat. You've probably just flooded the cells and the muscles with an extra bit of water. And then if you go back onto your healthy eating ways or reducing carbohydrate, then you'll see that slope off within a day or two. So we need to understand carbohydrate more rather than just sort of put a skull and crossbones and a fear sign over it. So carbs, energy source, glucose, really useful if you're very active and doing strength training from a performance point of view. But it's often one of the ones that's slightly overeaten these days in a sedentary environment with people looking for convenience food. But that does not mean that we always need to reduce it. It's actually also not an essential nutrient, whereas protein and fats are called essential because we need to get them from an outside food source. The body can make and will make its own glucose in the absence of carbohydrate. It'll turn some proteins into it. But that does not mean that carbohydrate should be obsolete. It comes with a whole host of useful stuff, mainly because carbohydrate is from the plant world. So with that comes phytonutrients and minerals and vitamins and fiber, which we really need into the diet, especially in these modern lifestyles. So next one we go on to is fats. This isn't the 1980s or 1990s. We should not be fat phobic. Fats run so many processes in the body. Anti-inflammatory pathways, they are in charge of cell signaling and cell health, with cell membrane structures, certain hormones are produced from them. Yeah, we need them in the diet. It's an essential nutrient as well. So as I said, just like protein, we need to get them from an outside food source. They are an energy source. We can run the body off fat. And if you've ever heard of things like keto diets as well, it's where you switch over and use ketones and fat sources as a fuel. They help us absorb vitamins like A, D, E, and K. So they are not to be abolished. It's not like, let's reduce carbohydrate, let's reduce fat. You're going to get into a bit of problems then with, you know, malnourishment, because you're not going to be getting the nutrients in. These are nutrient powerhouses and energy sources, and when they need to be dosed appropriately. So those are the 3 macros. We'll move on to the micros.